Tom lived in Sunnybrook, a small, peaceful village nestled deep in a lush green valley, where every morning began with birdsong and the gentle rustle of leaves. Stone cottages lined a winding road, their gardens bursting with wildflowers, smoke curling from chimneys, and the air always smelling of fresh bread and hearty stew. The village was bordered by gentle, rolling hills and a mysterious, whispering forest, with a sparkling brook running through its heart, bringing life to every corner. Tom, with his straw-colored hair and sky-blue eyes, knew every villager by name and every winding path by heart, always greeting neighbors with a cheerful wave. He loved his home dearly, but often felt a restless tug in his heart, a longing for something beyond the familiar fields and friendly faces. Sitting on the old stone wall at the village's edge, Tom would watch the sun dip behind the hills, painting the sky in gold and purple, and dream of distant lands. Stories from traveling merchants filled his imagination with visions of bustling cities, endless oceans, and thrilling adventures far beyond Sunnybrook. Even as he helped his parents with daily chores, carrying firewood, fetching water, or stirring the pot in their cozy kitchen, his mind wandered to places unknown. The world outside seemed vast and full of promise, and Tom longed for a story of his own, one filled with excitement and discovery. He yearned to see what lay beyond the hills and forest, to follow the winding paths into the unknown. More than anything, Tom wanted an adventure to call his own. Tom's longing for adventure grew stronger each day. He'd climb the tallest tree, gazing at distant rivers and endless forests, wondering what secrets they held. Quietly, he prepared, saving bread, filling a flask, and studying his grandfather's faded map. The map showed places with names like Whispering Woods and Dragon's Tooth Mountains. Real or not, they fueled his dreams. One evening, a storyteller visited Sunnybrook, spinning tales of brave journeys and magical treasures. Tom listened, captivated, feeling as if the story was meant for him. That night, he couldn't sleep, replaying the storyteller's words and imagining his own adventure. He realized he didn't need to be a knight or have a quest. He just needed to go. The decision was made. Tomorrow, he would leave Sunnybrook. He would follow the path out of the village and see where it led. His adventure was about to begin. The world was waiting. Before dawn, Tom quietly dressed, his small hands fumbling with the buttons in the dim light. He grabbed his bundle, packed with care the night before, and took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the day ahead. With careful steps, he slipped out of his cottage, making sure not to wake anyone. The door closed softly behind him, sealing his secret departure. The village was silent, bathed in gentle gray morning light. Not a soul stirred, only the faint chirping of crickets lingered in the air. He walked past familiar places, the baker's shop, the blacksmith's forge, each transformed by the early hour into something mysterious and new, as if the world itself was holding its breath. At the old stone wall, he paused, heart pounding in his chest. For a moment, he hesitated, then climbed over and set out, leaving the safety of home behind. The world outside was bigger and wilder than he'd ever imagined, wide fields stretching endlessly, towering trees swaying gently, and a sky that seemed to stretch forever above him. He saw deer grazing quietly in a misty meadow and heard unfamiliar birdsong echoing through the morning air, each sound and sight filling him with wonder. The path led him to the edge of the dark forest, where the trees grew thick and shadows danced between the trunks. Sunlight dappled the ground as he ventured deeper, each step making him feel both small and exhilarated, as if he were stepping into a story yet to be written. He ate his bread on a mossy log, listening to the forest's music, the rustle of leaves, the distant call of a bird, the gentle whisper of the wind. Every step took him further from home, but closer to the adventure he'd always dreamed of, each footfall echoing with possibility. He pressed on, heart full of awe and anticipation, determined to see what lay beyond the next bend in the path. He had no idea what he would find, or what challenges might await him in the shadows and sunlight ahead. And that was the best part. The thrill of the unknown, the promise of adventure, and the hope that every new step would lead to something extraordinary. As the sun rose, the path faded and the forest thickened. Tom tried to use his map, but nothing matched the tangled woods around him. Worry crept in. He was lost. Pushing forward, he heard a growing roar. A wide, wild river blocked his way. The water churned furiously, impossible to cross. He searched for a bridge or stones, but found none. The sun dipped lower, and fear grew. He was alone, far from home, and trapped. Tom sat on a rock, defeated, the river's roar mocking him. He missed his village and wondered if he'd made a mistake. For the first time, adventure felt overwhelming. He buried his face in his arms, feeling small and lost. The grand adventure seemed impossible now. He was stuck. Just as Tom was about to give up, a rustling in the bushes startled him. He braced himself, but out stepped a fox, its eyes bright, its coat fiery red. The fox watched Tom, calm and curious, then sat nearby, glancing between Tom and the river. Tom whispered hello, sharing his troubles with the fox. Strangely, it felt as if the fox understood. Tom poured out his story, his longing for adventure, his fear, and his problem. The fox listened, then stood and trotted down the riverbank, looking back as if to say, "Follow me." With nothing to lose, Tom followed. The fox moved gracefully, a flash of color in the green forest. For the first time since reaching the river, Tom felt hope. He hurried after his new companion, trusting the fox's silent guidance. He didn't know where they were going, but he wasn't alone anymore. The fox led Tom along the riverbank, farther than he'd dared go alone. They climbed over rocks and ducked under branches, the river roaring beside them. At last, the fox stopped and looked up. A giant fallen tree spanned the river, forming a natural bridge. Tom's heart leaped. He'd never have found it himself. The fox barked encouragement and darted across the log. Tom took a deep breath, stepped onto the rough bark, and focused on his friend waiting on the far side. He crossed slowly, never looking down at the rushing water. Finally, his feet touched solid ground. Relief and joy flooded him. He'd made it. He turned to the fox, gratitude shining in his eyes. He hadn't crossed alone. He'd done it with a friend. Sometimes help comes when you least expect it, and sometimes that help has a bushy tail. On the far side, the forest opened up, sunlight streaming through the trees and painting the ground with golden light. The air felt fresh and full of promise, as if the world itself was welcoming Tom onward. The fox led Tom to a clear, well-worn path, winding gently through the woods. Each step felt easier, as if the forest was guiding him home. Tom felt stronger and braver, the river's challenge behind him. He realized he had changed. He was no longer afraid of what lay ahead. The fox walked with him a while, then paused, nuzzled Tom's hand, and slipped back into the woods, leaving Tom with a grateful heart and a sense of wonder. Tom watched his friend disappear among the trees, grateful for the help and the memory of their journey together. He knew he would never forget the fox's kindness. The path led him to the hill above Sunnybrook, where the world seemed to open up before him. From there, he saw his village, stone cottages, smoke rising, home. The sight filled him with warmth and excitement. He ran down the hill, heart light, and climbed over the old wall as the sun set, eager to return to his family and share his story. His parents embraced him, relief and joy on their faces. Their arms felt like the safest place in the world. By the fire, Tom shared his adventure, the forest, the river, the clever fox. His family listened, amazed and proud of his courage. He was no longer just a boy from Sunnybrook. He had grown in ways he never expected. He was Tom, who had faced the unknown and found his way home, forever changed by his journey. And he knew, courage is facing fear, and sometimes accepting help from a friend. That was the greatest lesson of all.